What up, party people in the place to be? The ZoWhat morning show back in the building. Yeah, this is Monday, 11/11/2024. I've been shouting it out all year long just at how rapid this year has been moving. Shout out to Knowledge King, man. Um, Today's topic is really going to break down some things that I believe are important. Um, Everybody get in here, hit the like button. Number one, hit the like button to this show. When you like the show, we get into the algorithm. YouTube starts to promote us and push us to other people, other channels, other streams. So when you come in here, it's free to do it. Hit the like button. Share it. Let everybody know what we're talking about. As is commonplace, I like to promote black-owned businesses at the start of the show. Please continue to support the businesses that I put in front of you. Total Package Energy is one of those businesses. I've been working with this brother for nearly 9 years now. I say in between 8 and 9 years. We've been working with him for a long time. I mean, he goes all the way back to Dash. Dash is 2014. I mean, he goes back a long time. So literally damn near 10 years now. So I really want you guys to support him. Total Package Energy. Go to totalpackageenergy.com. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. Also, if you're a small black-owned business and you want to get some national visibility, and you want your brand or your product promoted, all you got to do is email me at vor106@gmail.com. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let everybody know that you're in here. Also, you can hit the super chat. The super chat is the little dollar sign down at the bottom of the chat. Or you can support the show by hitting my Cash App directly. You can go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter, $ZoWhatNetter. We encourage you guys to support. We encourage you guys to let the world know what we're doing over here. 6 minutes in, we should have been well over the amount of people that are normally in here, but understand, YouTube video suppression is a real thing. Because I'm going to talk about something today. Here we go. Let's get right to it. Here we go. Let's get right to it. The name of the topic is Now What? Real issues represented by fake people is not the answer. What do you mean real issues? First off, politics is very tricky. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, don't say the word politics or politics. They use the term politricks. So listen, I'm gonna try to trick you with political jargon, right? How do I do that? Politricks. How do I do it? I'm going to conflate a bunch of stuff that ain't the same. And I'm going to put it all under one bill. Now, if I correlate all of these things that look the same on the surface, but really aren't the same, guess what? They manifest as a form of truth. This is what the Kabbalion, go get the book, The Kabbalion, written by the three initiates, when it talks about half-truths. See, half-truths resonate as both lie and truth. So you are conflicted by it when you hear a half-truth. So you get one side of the fence, the Kamala side of the fence, spitting a particular half-truth, and it's resonating. You're 100% right. We need to take care of our women. Women's rights, their voices, that's ringing true, right? But then there's some other fucktardery in there. there's some other fugazi, some other preservatives and unnecessary ingredients, some legal GMOs, right? So when that stuff gets thrown into it, there is an imbalance in the thought process. We're like, wait a minute, hold on. Part of this feels right. Part of this feels true. But then there's another part that is ajar. You remember the old Nissan when it first came out? Nissan Maxima. Your door is ajar. Yeah, something is ajar. Now, everybody's upset. Everybody's upset about this loss. But consider this. Consider this. The sister, in only 107 days, after picking up the campaign of a lame duck president in Biden, couldn't even talk, basically, right? Became a mumble rapper in the middle of the campaign. She had to take over. In 107 days, she did something that I think is quite remarkable, and we should give her credit for that. She got 70.9 million votes. 70 million votes is crazy. You got to give her credit for that. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, got 4.6 million more votes, 4.3 million more votes than her. You only need 270 electoral college votes to win the presidency. He got 312. So functionally a blowout. But she still got 226 electoral college votes. Not too shabby for somebody who picked up a campaign 107, at the time of the November 5th, it was 107 days. Trump had been campaigning for 2 years at this point. And she picked up the last 107 days. So to get 70 million votes, you give her credit for that. But let me just go back to my initial point about real issues being represented by fake people. Politicians have always been fake. They've always been duplicitous. I've said many, many times, whether you want to accept it or not, right? When you're dealing with the political sphere, you're dealing with what? Hollywood. It's the highest form of Hollywood. What do you think? What do you think foreign relations is? It's pomp and pageantry. I have to look presidential. What is looking presidential? Do you see what I'm saying? That's PR. That's Hollywood. They got scripts. It's a need-to-know basis. I'm not telling you everything that's going on. Well, who are you? You're just a cog in the machine. I ain't got to talk to you about nothing that's really happening. Right? So guess what they gave the American people? They gave us Kamala, which is an aspiration, so to speak. Man, it would be good to have a black woman as the president. Pull up that other picture of Donald Trump. This what we got, though. Right? Bam. America spoke and told you the truth of who America is. 34 felony counts, 1 conviction, 2 cases pending, 2 impeachments, 6 bankruptcies, 4 more years. I told you before, America, when they set it up, this government, number one, the government was made weak on purpose. Those are the Articles of Confederation. Right? Why was the government made weak? Because the colonists who came over here, the 13 colonists, had just came from under the rule of King George. They didn't want a monarchy, a dictatorship anymore. So when they established their own country, The Articles of Confederation were weak. They wanted to limit government's power. They wanted to limit that. Are you not seeing on both sides, just because it's red or blue, both are trying to enhance and exacerbate government's power? On the blue side, if your kid come to you and tell you that they're the spirit of another being, of another gender, you can go to jail if you don't acknowledge that. That's the government in your life, right? On the red side, if your kid come to you and tell you they are the spirit of another being and you take them to the hospital and y'all get something done, you going to jail. Either way, it's the government interfering on either side. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Weak government in the beginning. Then they realize, oh, we can't tax nobody with the weak government. We can't amass an army with the weak government. We can't do nothing with the weak government. We just a government on paper, really. Oh, no, well, let's pull it back together. Next thing you know, the Constitution, articles, what is it? It's another one. I done forgot. My mind is blanking. But you had the Constitution. When the Constitution was written, again, you had two sides of the coin. You had some people who wanted a strong government, some people who wanted a weak government. Federalist versus anti-federalist, right? Okay, we're going to vote. What is the vote? What does voting mean? Well, who is it for? Only white, male, landowners. That's it. Women, slaves, nobody else could vote. White, male, landowners. All right. Let's create some amendments now. We're moving forward because guess what? We're having conflicts with the government Bible. What is the government Bible? The Constitution. What are amendments? Translations. I've been using this religious metaphor for a minute. People don't understand, right? You know what? This could mean that, and this could mean this. Okay, we got to do an amendment for that because the original Constitution, i.e. Biblios, doesn't speak to this specifically. We had an argument in the early government about should we have a bank or not. Well, it's not specifically stated in the Constitution. So the anti-federalist was like, you're going against the word of government. God, G-O-D, guns, oil, and drugs. You're going against the Constitution. You cannot create a bank. Again, Andrew, what was his name? I done forgot all of their names. I just studied this a little minute ago. The Secretary of State, who's on the $20 bill. Andrew Jackson. I think that was him. He's arguing, no, we need that. He's a federalist. He's for stronger, more robust government. We need that. We got to have it. In order to be a strong country, we got to have a central bank. Okay, Andrew Jackson. You had other people that was like, hell no, anti-federalists. I want to live on my farm. I want to live out in the rural land. I don't want to be bothered by government. I want as much freedom as I can have because I remember the tyranny of England. Okay, we moving forward. 1863, right? Because eventually we get a bank. And it has a term limit, 20 years. And then after that 20 years expires, they got another bank, and it was in Philadelphia, right? Because it's not in the Constitution, they put term limits on it so as to reassure the anti-federalists who wanted a weak government so they can experience as much freedom as they possibly could have, just to assure them we're not okay. We're gonna have a bank, but it's gonna leave. Okay, now this is what's been going on in America for the longest. It's, do we stick to the Constitution or do we keep modifying it? And if we keep modifying it, are we holding true to its values and core principles? Right? According to American law, you can't run for president as a felon. As a felon, you can't even vote. As a felon, you can't vote. Did Trump vote for himself? Trump ran for president. Listen, there are prisoners in jail right now that cannot vote because they are, in fact, felons. This is a convicted felon 34 times. If this isn't the epitome of how this government was originally established, white, male, landowners. To me, both candidates were terrible. Black people, why you get pimped by slogans and imagery every single time? And just like a narcissist, don't act like most of us don't have narcissistic tendencies. Just like a narcissist, if you stand up and say, use critical thinking, why her? Why him? See something wrong. See, when you question, see something wrong now, right? Something wrong with you. See, if you don't vote, it's a vote for him. Who is she? And why? Like, we played a video the other day, or last week. And the video was a TED Talk that says, even scientists and engineers get dumber when they choose a side. In political, it's specifically with political ideology, when they have to choose a side, they get stupider. And all I initially said was, sit the fuck back and watch what's happening. You getting played based on an idea. You don't understand politics is Hollywood because of the coverage, the media coverage, the scripts, because of the PR firms that write the speeches. These people are regurgitating speeches. Did you see the video where Kamala is side by side in her exit speech with Hillary Clinton? And 98% of what was said was exactly the same shit. But you think it's real. Politics has its own form of religion. You know what it is? Patriotism. You got a religious fanatic, and then you got a patriot. It's a religion. Do you see? Tell me this quote doesn't fit perfectly with what went down. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. Carl Jung. You're not taught to think in this society. You're not taught to see things from a clear perspective. Let me ask you a conundrum of a question. If you have to choose only one, if you absolutely had to choose only one, Which would you prefer? Your power to vote or read? That's an interesting question, right? Would you give up your power to vote to maintain your ability to read? Let me tell you why this is important. The name of this topic is, now what? All we got is each other. Why is it that we continue to run to people who never had our back? Regardless of what side of the fence they're on. Regardless, listen. You look up the original history of the Democrats. The original history of the Democrats were the slave owners down in the South. Lincoln was a Republican. And the Republican Party was the one that was pushing for freedom. That old Dixie time Democrat. How is it that black people can stay in a toxic relationship with Democrats? I had a Jewish homeboy tell me the liberals are worse, bro. That's what he said. He said the liberals are the worst. He said the reason why liberals are the worst is because they get to sit where they are on their high horse and breadcrumb out resources to feel good about themselves. But if they had to give it all up in order to produce real equality, they would never do that. So he was telling me diversity is the trick. Because if I'm pushing diversity, I'm also pushing a quota. Just a few of you niggas can get in here. And if I can get a double minority, a woman and a black, that's two birds, one stone in this business. At least with the Republicans, they like, listen, Project 2025. At least they just gonna come out. You know what? This Christian nationalism. And Christian nationalism is basically what the KKK believe. Did y'all niggas get your fake text messages? Cotton picking service. We're going to do church and work at the same time. We're going to have a church service where you're picking cotton. It starts on the 13th of November. Did everybody get their text message? People say Trump doesn't endorse 2025. Not openly. Definitely not. But some of his cohorts, the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, wrote a 900-page dossier on what should happen in alignment with Jesus in them. But Elijah Muhammad said black people's unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. But black people would rather unify with the same people that tore them down, that enslaved them. It's Stockholm Syndrome, where you fall in love with your slave master. And the slave master done got wise. Let me give them a Stephen from Django that represents the same system, because what they found out in psychology is this. If you ain't been through nothing, the person you're trying to help or heal typically won't open up. There has to be a pain reciprocity. There has to be a trauma reciprocity. There has to be some familiarity with damn, you understand where I've been. You understand what this is. That's when they start talking. But if you put somebody in front of them that ain't never been through nothing, they don't know how to connect. So the person who's been hurt tends to hold back. Let me put one of your own in front of you. That's what the government been doing. I'm going to put Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla in front of you. Right? I'm going to put them in front of you. And no disrespect to those young ladies, no disrespect. We got to grow up spiritually. But do you see how they'll correlate things that are seemingly the same? We've been arguing a long time. The rainbow rights are not the same as the civil rights. Right? But then they blended them together. So in blending them together, yes, they seem the same, right? But they're different. And if one can use the other, can stand on the shoulder of giants and get more than what you have given the giant whose shoulders they're standing on, then you create some kind of conflict between the two. Like, wait a minute, how can you use my struggle, mirror it, and leapfrog me in importance? Leapfrog me in resources. Do you see? Oh, we've given out bread. Now, here you go. Bam, bam, bam. Here. You understand what I'm saying? How can you do that? So it makes us feel some kind of way, like, damn, we still struggling and fighting. You gonna snatch the blueprint. Do you see what I'm saying? And then take off. Reparations too complicated to calculate. Neither one of these candidates talked about it. Pull up the numbers. What the numbers look like. Who voted for who? 74% of white men and 69% of white women said, fuck what you talking about. Yes, we said this dude is crazy. Yes, we said this dude is unhinged. Yes, this dude is a criminal, 34-time felon. Yes. Do you know this is the most infamous president in the history of American culture? This is the most infamous president. This dude is Don Corleone. This dude is like, because of the way they're writing his story. Impeached twice, but never actually impeached. How about that? %74% of white men, 69% of white women. Black men who are still being ripped. If you look at black men and black women, they're either 30 or 40% higher than any other demographic. Just take 30, 40. In some cases, look at black men and women. 81% Democrat for black men, 90% Democrat for black women. A collective 20%. You had 8% of black women voting Democrat or voting Republican. I guess they can't be called to the table. Like, sisters ain't calling them to the table. They calling brothers to the table now for that 16%. Brothers getting called to the table, okay, for that 16%. Right? But they're not saying, sisters, you betrayed us. We supposed to be at 100% Democrat. Remember, I'm making the point that there is too many issues that are melded together as if they're one issue. I'm running on women's empowerment, but I'm also undercurrent running on the rainbow rights. Right? There's a lot of different conflicting things that we're running on, and they're not clear. But they're being scooped together as one thing. Do black men want black women to have black babies and be able to make it out of the hospital? Of course, black men want that. Right? So women's rights matter to black men. Oh, at the core of that is the abortion issue. Well, the pro-rights abortion issue, that's a Christian thing. I was in the cigar lounge the other day. Somebody's arguing with me. When does a spirit enter into the cell? I said, you sound stupid as fuck. Like, that's a real question? That shit dumb as hell. Now, stop for 1 second and think clearly. If the pro-life person who's supposed to be an academician, who's supposed to be a part of intelligentsia, who's supposed to be genius, smart, can intuit the exact moment when a spirit enters this, you niggas made it up. Stop making up shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the flip is just as crazy. Right? Because here's the thing. God didn't mean for that soul to be terminated. You speaking for God? You know what God wants? And if the kid was in fact terminated, how did it slip through the cracks of God's control? Stop having these dumbass conversations on either side. There is no spirit in the zygote. Not yet. Do you get a notification on your phone when the spirit slips in? On the other side, God knew that this child was supposed to be born. I can interrupt God's work? Like, how can I interrupt God? If God wants something to happen, won't it happen? Because didn't we give birth to won't he do it? So do you see the futility and the logic on both sides? This is why I stay out of those conversations. So here's the thing. The way our society is set up, the black man is at fault for everything. So guess what? The 90% of black women who voted Democrat are going to shame the 16% of black men who voted Republican more than they will shame and go after the 74% of white women who voted Republican. Now, if this is a movement about women's rights, what in the entire fuck are white women doing voting 74% for the Republican? You know why? Because they got more loyalty to their men, whether they're toxic or not, than you do to yours, sister. Oops. Somebody got to say it. That white woman go, listen, this us. Centuries of abuse, centuries of whatever. We rolling with him. Remember the first time Trump, listen, 69% of white women, not 74, but that's 74% of white men who voted for Trump, 69% of white women who voted for Trump. Listen, 69%. That's up from the 53% of white women who voted for him in 2020. No, not 2020. When did he win? 2016. They said, you know what? 53% of white women voted for him in 16. And then they said, you know what? We're going to have a protest after the inauguration. In 16, he was talking about grabbing pussies. Grab them by the pussy. Fuck it. Yoni swipe. Come here. Yoni cupping. Bring it here. Sit it right here. And became president. The white man has always been at the top of the food chain in American politics. You think they're going to give that up now? 90% of black women will deride black men. That's 16% of black men. They got a whole movement going right now that's talking about don't marry, don't date, don't have sex. Pull it up. No, not that. It's a little picture. Nope. It's on there. It's up there. No. God damn it, Bobby. It's all right. Listen, black men and black women, the biggest contributors to the Democratic ticket. When do we become the biggest contributors to our own ticket? You got a whole YouTube culture that is designed for gossip, designed for devaluation, designed for denigration of character. And guess who is doing the most of it to each other? Black folk. It's called an ad hominem attack. And when our entertainment comes from such an attack, it's really sad. What does ad hominem actually mean? Ad hominem is a rhetorical strategy that involves attacking the person making an argument instead of the argument itself. Who are you to be talking? What gives you the right? Even if what they're saying is making sense. The term comes from the Latin phrase ad hominem, which means aimed at the man. The fact of my argument is the number 2 voting block by race and gender in America is African American men. 81% voted Democrat. Okay? Last 2020, it was 88% voted Democrat. And they still got scraped in that, black men and more black men, because it was like 11, 12% that voted Republican then. So it's up 3 to 4%. But look, black women were at 98% on the last run, 97%. Did you get on your sisters for that 5% jump? Are you calling your sisters out? What about the Latino men at 53% who are about to be deported? You vote for your exit plan. Get your things, get all your stuff, and get gone. Now that the numbers are in, you got the picture of the numbers, right? The final tally. Nope. Mike! I need the numbers. Not those. It says 312 to 226. No, not that one. It's all right. Don't worry about it. All I'm saying is, we believe in a political system that really wasn't designed for us to win. I'll explain it again, just in case people are confused. 1863, slaves are released. Some slaves don't even know. This is where Juneteenth comes in. 2 years after that, 1865. Again, they created the Electoral College because they knew after the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, because by the time you get the 15th Amendment, black men get to vote. Slavery is abolished. Black people are seen as human beings, not chattel anymore. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. So the government is changing. 1863, what are we going to do with 4 million former slaves now flushed into society? And then the question amongst the whites were, which slavery was their lifestyle, especially in the Southeast, what's going to happen if they get the vote? See, because there was a time when voting, you believe my vote matters. Every vote matters. But what they understood was they can't get the vote, even if we offer it to them. Why? Niggas we beat? Who you think they gonna vote for? See, part of your history is you don't even understand that there were a lot of black congressmen and senators. Like, they don't want to repeat or report on all that, right? Remember, when black men were able to vote, finally you got to vote. Can you read? If you can't read, you can't vote. That's why I asked that question earlier. See, some people might think I was making up some shit, like my shit ain't thought out. I'm just coming up with just random shit. You see? But back in the day, if you couldn't read, black man, you can't vote. And if you couldn't read, you might still be able to vote if your grandfather voted. But if your grandfather was a slave and he couldn't read, and you a slave and or a former slave and you still can't read, neither one of y'all can vote. See, they had means and methods to prevent the blacks from exercising their constitutional rights. And one of those means was the Electoral College. Why? We don't want the voting process to turn into a popularity contest. Now, there was a time in America when whites were 80% of the population. That's down to 53% now. But they showed you, nope, white values, white beliefs. That's what we believe in. We don't give a damn about your new world and what you're trying to do. We going back to old school Jesus, old school Dixieland, and ain't shit you could do about it. Guess what? There is something to do about it, but we refuse to do it because we hate ourselves. YouTube is full of ad hominem attacks. Everybody's attacking each other. Everybody has a criticism for everybody else. Oh, you know, Zoe is this and Zoe is that. But nobody is saying, let's work together. All of us, completely. You heard about it briefly. Suge Knight, Murder Inc., all these companies were trying to get together to create distribution. Right? All of them. Rockefeller, all of them. Trying to get together in the early 2000s, right? And the rumor is Jay-Z snitched to the feds, allegedly. But everybody that's on that team is saying, and fast forward to 2024, he the billionaire, everybody else struggling. He said everybody got hit by the feds. Jay Prince, everybody. Suge was trying, nobody hears these stories though. See, unity scares the system. In the listen how big that would have been. In the early 2000s, Murder Inc., Rockefeller, Jay Prince, Death Row, all them together and creating your own damn distribution. See, I was in the music industry. I know what it is. Distribution is the lifeblood of the music industry, which is why this shit is dying now. It's been dying. I remember when they had the opportunity to capitalize on the internet. No, what they did was they villainized the internet. Hey, artist, the internet is stealing from you. What they didn't understand was, no, they not. They might be getting it free on this end, but that's actually engendering this fan base to you. Man, I heard that new album. When that motherfucker go out to make his real money, those fans who had Napster, who had LimeWire, they're going to go spend that money to see you. But the label knew the artist makes the majority of that money. That's tour money. I make the majority of the money on the downloads that are lost. That's my money. Because how the record industry works, whatever I paid up front, I get that back before you get your first check. Oh, by the way, I own your publishing, your masters. No, I own your masters on a deal, on a loan. The deal is based on a loan. I loan you money that I have to recoup before you get paid, but because I loaned you that money, I now own your masters. So once the brick and mortars leave, the Blockbusters and all of this, once that leave, oh shit, we got the digital world. We got iPods now. Hey, that's the end of your distribution, record company. What? Yeah. So guess what they do then? All right, anybody that comes into our system, we're going to lock you down with all the other ancillary income streams. Back in the day, if you were a fucking artist, a music artist, and you go do a TV deal, that TV deal is your money because it's not the music industry. Oh, no, we finna do a 360 deal. So now, wherever the fuck you go, we get a piece of that money too. Why? Because the distribution was now put digital. Apple was like, y'all stupid. All right, cool. I'm going to do this. Now you got to fuck with us. We'll just buy the licenses. Spotify comes along and goes, wow, Apple did that too? Wow, well, here we go. And we're unsure of how much a stream is worth. Let's say a stream is worth 0.00004 cents. What? So you get to determine how much my art is worth. Well, at the same time, you taking the lion's share of all of the money that's being made because there's back-end deals, right? Owning ATM machines. As an owner of an ATM machine, you know what you get? You not only get the money from the cost of the transaction, set at $3.75 per transaction. I need $20. That's $23.75. As the owner of the ATM, I get $3.75. However, I also get the money that's generated from the modem that connects the ATM to the bank. There's a transaction fee for that. You don't know what other fees they're getting from these Spotify transactions that are giving them the lion's share. Now, how is it that Basquiat's art is worth more than Prince's or Michael Jackson's in terms of streams? Everything about American society is slavery. There's no real freedom. There's no real freedom. You can watch the movie The Matrix and be in awe. This shit was dope as hell. Damn, art, imitating life. Wow, this is cold blood. Listen, choice is the problem. Because you don't control the choice that's being presented. It's not an organic choice. Answer me this. Why every nigga that was born here in America that descended from slaves always gets assassinated or loses outright? No, nigga, not your kind. Now, an exotic melanated person, sure. But you have to represent the ones that are already here. You have to move and think and look and vibe like them. Why is everything a fucking performance? Why is questioning considered conspiracy theory? Which is more valuable to you? Your ability to vote, which they threaten to take away every few years, or your ability to read? You got niggas out there that's shitting on reading. Not knowing in psychology, they acknowledge street knowledge. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, you might want to read. In psychology, the study of psychology, they acknowledge street knowledge. But street knowledge doesn't acknowledge psychology. That's white man shit. You see how you handicap your stupid ass? The psychologists will go, street knowledge is some real shit that is to be respected. But the street nigga will be like, that's some old white people shit. Nigga speaking all clear, mentioning his R's and shit. The fuck? Okay. When your enemy respects you more than you respect him, that's when you usually lose, dumbass. It's a lot of dumbass motherfuckers out here. And I'm okay with saying it. America is considered one of the dumbest countries in the world. Across the board. Tell me I'm lying. Go look it up. I played the videos the other day. Narcissism, inarticulation, ignorance, stupidity reign supreme in America. As long as stupidity is charismatic, as long as stupidity is considered funny, entertaining, stupidity reigns supreme. I'm in the music industry. You know what they say? Hey, man, the simplest songs make the biggest hits. Nobody want to. So if I bring it up, who the fuck is you? Ad hominem attack. Who the fuck is you to be talking? God inspired? Maybe God inspired me to talk? Because by right, I don't even like talking to niggas. People who know me know, like Zoe is introverted. He stays off to the cut. Why is it so easy for us to fuck with the system and not fuck with each other? Again, they put that fucking electoral college in place because they didn't want random, dumb people to pick the president. And dumb people included whites, uneducated whites. Remember the Jonestown movie where the blacks and the whites got together? Hey, What's that quote from the former president, Johnson? I think it's Johnson, where he says, if you make the white man think, even if he's lower than the black man, if you make him think he's better because he's white, I forgot the name of that quote. Somebody find that quote for me and tell me what it is. I think it's Johnson. But you understand what I'm saying? Elijah Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan, they all said the same thing. We need to work together. But black people are too critical of each other and not critical enough. I've seen so many motherfuckers just going, we got to roll with her just cuz. And I'm saying I fuck with sisters, period. But why do we have to? In light of everything that has gone down since 2008, from 2008 to 12, 8 years of Obama, the political process, hey man, what do we get that's tangible? You got Trump out here, Lyndon Johnson, you got Trump out here right now. I'm going to end that war. I'm going to talk to both of them. And, we're gonna iron that out. But they're also talking about bread. Because everybody know Trump is pro-Israel. So all of the funds, all of the bread that was being sent to the Ukraine, that's a wrap. Do you understand? That's a wrap. Y'all know what's happening? But we won't get together. We'll extrapolate our fame off of calling our brother a lame. Right? That's what we'll do. But what's lame about a brother? If you're a black man in America, you own property. You're a black man in America, you raised your kids, all of them. They did well in school, went on to professional life, and are doing well. If you're a black man in America and you're able to pay your bills, if you're a black man in America and you're able to create products that actually educate and enlighten the masses, you did okay. In one of the toughest eras to be able to do it in one of the toughest locations. Los Angeles ain't easy to be in. But instead of brothers uplifting other brothers, instead of sisters uplifting other sisters, what are we doing for the most part? You know what's interesting? My daughter, I've been in the car with my daughter a lot, driving places, and she put me on to Glorilla. Now, my natural inclination is, Prima, listen. When I say toughest, I'm talking about the dollar is at the weakest, hustle. The dollar's at the weakest. Inflation is crazy. That's what I'm talking about. Money is tight than a motherfucker. The cost of living in Los Angeles ain't never been this crazy. It's crazy. That's what I'm talking about. But she put me on the Glorilla. So I'm listening to Glorilla and I'm like, oh. It's hard for me because I'm from a different era of hip hop. You understand? It's hard. I'm listening. You know, I'm listening. Man, I get into it a little bit and I start to hear it. First off, Glorilla is a star. Now, as an A&R, that's what I listen for. It's an intangible quality that can't be taught, where you just go, damn, you can drop that person into she could be on TV, she could be a model, she could be like, you could put her in different spaces and places and she would shine. So it's an intangible quality. Then as a former MC, I'm listening also to her voice. Oh, she got an original voice. I'm like, okay. My initial listen, yes, you're right, Bicycle Tie. My ears were hurting. You know, just vulgarity, you know. Eat the pussy good, music. I'm like, what the fuck? God damn, I'm struggling, right? Lick my ass. Oh, okay. Shit. And I'm looking at my daughter like, what the fuck? What's happening? So I continue to listen. I'm listening to some records. And then I'm like, yo, she's actually empowering. And she's different than the others. She's a better rapper. She has a better voice than Meg Thee Stallion. I like her. She seems more authentic than Meg to me. Meg seems like she picked a style that's easy to rap. Like if you've been in hip hop as long as I have, you've heard all the styles. Oh, you got a style, a specific kind of style, and you rap that way. Okay, it's cool. But you're good enough to do it. Okay, fine. But lyrically, nothing impressive, nothing, you know, and not even with Glow, but it's a presence with Glow that's different. So I'm listening to the album, and now on this hood level, she's rapping women's empowerment. Nigga beating you up, don't stay. And I'm like, okay, you flipping the low vibration. I said, all right, you still got the stripper shit popping and my moose knuckle and all type of weird shit. Like, okay, I got that blicky, I'm a shooter nigga. Like, you still got these kinds of records, but there's something in there that I can say, oh, that's empowering. There's some women out there that's listening to you, that's on that vibration, that can lift themselves up, you know, by hearing her words. And I was like, all right, I see. And then I was like, now I see why my daughter listens. I was like, okay, so you can see some value in what she's saying. I asked my daughter that. And my daughter was like, yeah, she's saying certain things. She was like, not everything she says is cool, but she's saying certain things that you can actually use and build on. And for me, that's all that matters. Empowering ourselves at whatever level. Because guess what? A bodhisattva can't go into the damn strip club in Memphis and convert niggas to a higher level of consciousness. You're not going to see the Dalai Lama up in Magic City. You're wasting valuable chi clapping your ass. Like, it's not going to connect. That's not going to connect. You need somebody that's in that space that could speak, you know, these morsels of empowerment. And I think that that's really good. But now that the world is about to change, what are black people going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? As a matter of fact, we got videos. Play this clip. Clip number 1. Listen to this. Y'all going to see. Yep.
This is one of my favorites. to talk about because, as an American, we grew up with this constant drumbeat of telling us about what a great country America is because it's so free and because we have all this freedom and so forth. This is the ultimate example of a misconception. America is the land of the free. It's completely meaningless. I mean, ask an American, what do you even mean? What do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by the freedom that you have that other people don't have? It's like saying America is the best country because we have the color green. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you may have health care in your country, you may have efficient public transportation in your country, but at least in America, we have the color green. The average American citizen has less freedom than any random villager in Indonesia or in Ghana or in any other part of the global south. What freedom are you even talking about? I mean, you're living, most Americans, the overwhelming majority of Americans, as we've been talking about when we were talking about the economy, and you can't separate the economy and the economic standard of living and quality of life of the people. You can't separate that from their freedom. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. For most Americans, if they miss even one paycheck, they're going to be thrown out onto the street. That's the reality. You don't have just one master in America in terms of your slavery. We were talking about debt slavery, wage slavery, and so on. Your employer is your master. Your student loan officer is your master. Your landlord is your master. The credit card bureau is your master. Your mortgage loan officer is your master. Your insurance adjuster, your HMO, the IRS, your credit card company, they're all your masters. In America, you're a slave with many masters. And they all have their chains on you, and they all have their own lash that they can use on your back. So what freedom do you have? You have more laws in America and more regulations in America than any other country in the world. The average American's daily life is governed or influenced or restricted or in one way or another determined literally by tens of thousands of laws and regulations. Upwards of 50,000 to 100,000 rules at the municipal level, the state level, the federal level, not to mention the rules in your own company that you work for, whatever rules that your employer imposes upon you. This is like scaffolding around the daily routine and activities of the American people, of any average American citizen. Most of these rules actually only exist, no matter what they tell you, they'll tell you that these rules all exist to make the society better and to protect you and to make you safe and so on. But the truth of the matter is, and any American who's listening knows this to be true by your own experience, that these rules only exist for the purpose of generating revenue for the enforcing body of those rules through the imposition of fines and fees and so forth. That's the real purpose behind most of these. It's not health and safety and security and efficiency or what have you.
Did he lie? Did he lie? See, I don't give a damn if you don't like me. See, sometimes people can't hear the truth from somebody they don't like. That means you have a learning impediment. Because knowledge, that should be the key to everything. Knowledge is like currency. But see, currency ain't shit unless you spend it on something that has meaning. You have to be wise with the current. So knowledge is like money. Knowledge isn't effective unless it's applied. Money isn't effective unless it's applied to something. Do you understand what I'm saying? Motherfucker, look at me. Fuck him. Who him? It be your own fucking people. Who him? Who that nigga up on that nag? They'd rather listen to this brother right here. No disrespect to the brother. They'd rather listen to him. But he said everything I said. You're addicted to a system that's designed to spiritually, physically, emotionally, and psychologically rape you. This is a vampiric system. Some people even say draconian. You heard what he said about the number of laws in this motherfucker. Oh, I don't like when Zoe rants. I gave Jeff Brown a rant. Love Jeff Brown. If I come back and say, when are we going to get together? When are we going to work together? Despite our differences. When are we going to heal what is broken between us? Black men, black women. When are we going to get back together? The system is all, white people already told you who they fuck with. Put the numbers up. White people said, the pussy grabber, 69% of white women, they already said who they rock with. You on the blue side hosting up an image of freedom, an image of progress. But when black people come back and say, what are the tangibles? What are the concrete reality? What comes from voting for you? The Ukrainian getting bread. But the bread's finna get cut off because Trump is pro-Israel. But how much bread were they getting? They're coming over here, getting subsidized to be here, subsidized to go to school, subsidized medical. Listen, with all of these contradictions in place, white men and women said, this who we fuck with. You would think there's unity amongst that 81% of black men and 90% black women, but there's not. The fact that you can get called out after being the number 2 supporter in terms of gender and race. Still, too many of y'all went over there. Y'all left us hanging like y'all always do. Huh? Willie Lynch is alive and well. People don't even know if the damn Willie Lynch letter is real. It ain't even gotta be real. Whoever leaked that shit to the public, it ain't even gotta be real. We are the embodiment of Willie Lynch. Niggas will never call out their masters. Never call out their masters. But if you stand up and say, hey, man, there's a contradiction here. There's a disparity. Who the fuck is you to be talking? Ad hominem attacks. Where do we go from here? I'm asking y'all, where do we go from here? Everybody told you, weak policies, not very personable, not as charismatic as, say, a Barack Obama or even a Bill Clinton. Everybody said, what is she running on? Is it going to be Bidenomics? Is it going to be more of the same from the last 3.5 years? She's not clear on what it is she's trying to do. Everybody said the same thing. And then get mad because there's hesitancy to vote. One been running for 107 days. The other one been running for 200 days. Both of them weak. Both of them terrible. Both of them not good choices. But you get shamed into voting blue? Nobody going after them Latin men, are you? 45% of Latin men voted for Donald Trump. 40% of Latin women. 55% of all other races voted for Donald Trump. Come on. How is it that black men could, didn't I tell y'all 8 weeks ago, what did I say to y'all? I said, yo, you know, if she lose, they're going to blame us. I said that. But what am I really saying today? How are you going to work with each other? Why is it so hard for you to work with each other? Why can't we work with each other? Right? Isn't that the key to the whole thing? Working with each other? Also, the old guard is out. The old guard is gold, oil. Right? That's what the oligarchs was built on. Gold, oil, land, you know. Trump got down with the new oligarchs, the technocrats, Tesla, Zuckerberg, right? This is why crypto jumped the fuck up. So the day after, what? Yeah. Huh? That's why that happened. He's in with the technocrats. They're like, guess what we gonna do to that petrodollar? Do you know it was white men who turned a desert in Saudi Arabia, turned it into this lavish oasis? It was white men. Our need for oil. Look at the white. We got oil here in America. But white people, we need to maintain tradition. So how we do that is we import oil and we store the shit that comes out of our ground. So when they run out, we're going to make them rich, by the way. They're going to be, you go from Bedouins. What is a Bedouin? A nomad. You live in the desert in a tent. You're a Bedouin. You're an Arab, a nomad. That's what Arab mean, Araba. To travel to and fro. You're a Bedouin. You go from that because of the petrodollar to Dubai. George W. Bush, all them people before, they made this possible. Let's do a deal with Saudi Arabia. Let's do a deal with the Arab Emirates. Let's do a deal with... While we're pumping the oil out of American soil and storing it, there are going to be combustion engines for a long time to come. Don't worry. This business, man. Donald Trump was like, no, I'm going with the technocrats. Man, what did my brother have to say, Dr. James Small? Listen to what he says.
I wanted to get that out first because when we talk about Trump, it's like Trump's going to come in and destabilize something. America's not run by the managers. Let's get that clear. Presidents are managers with management styles. Trump doesn't have any power as the president. If he steps out of line, the managers will do to him what they did to John Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Garfield, and Harrison, and the other presidents. America has assassinated more of its president than any other country in the Western Hemisphere. Were you aware of that? Most people aren't. Arthur, Harrison, Garfield, Kennedy, Kennedy's brother who would have been president, Abraham Lincoln. 5 to 7, I think, of them was assassinated. No other nation in modern times in the Western world have ever assassinated. No two nations has ever assassinated that many of their presidents. Yet we don't talk about it, right? And if the Bidens step out of line, his bosses will eliminate him as easily as those same bosses eliminated Kennedy. It was the government of the United States that killed President Kennedy. Just like the government killed Malcolm X and the government killed Martin Luther King and multiple others that weren't as famous as they were. So these managers, Trump problem isn't what he will do with the government, because who sits on his cabinet, that won't be decided by him. That will be decided by some right-wing think tank. Like under Obama, you had everything that he did was a platform given to him by the Heritage Society. See, in different ones of these right-wing think tanks, they hire these managers. We vote the managers in for them to give some false legitimacy of democracy. But there's no democracy here, because the people who give them the agenda to be carried is the 1% of the 1%.
I would like for everybody to support this channel in the best way that they know how. If this information is good to you, if you're enjoying what we laying out, please support the best way you know how. There's a couple of ways to do so. You can go to my website, MrZoWhat.com, and purchase my latest book, The Shrouded Lighthouse. Also, I got a big TV show interview happening tomorrow. I'm waiting for all of the links and all of the social media stuff so I can post it on my Instagram. I did an interview with somebody big time, well, relatively big time, a couple weeks back. That interview happens tomorrow. Go to my Instagram page to check it out. I'm gonna post it on the Instagram. But there's an easy way, a couple of ways to support. The $ down at the bottom of the chat, that's called the super chat or super thanks. You could give directly to the channel. We would appreciate whatever you can to support this channel, to support this information if you enjoy what we're talking about. And then also you can go directly to my Cash App. We have moderators in here now. Moderators, can you give them the instructions on how to support this before we get into the next clip? I hope you guys are enjoying. But yeah, you can go to my Cash App, hit me up directly, $ZoWhat Netter. What's your name, brother? Francisco. Oh, this is Francisco. You always do the show. Francisco is behind the board right now. Francisco, what's your Cash App? You got to do that in the mic. Or you know what? You could just create a lower thirds and put it up. Can you do that? Yeah, I want you guys to support Francisco as well. Everybody, please support the channel. Do the best you know how. Do the best you can. Francisco, what's the next clip? I want to move to the next clip. Let's go. Let's hear it.
After 17 months of running for justice and running for president, after 1,000 interviews and 300 speeches, I want to say at the very end of this journey that we live in a sick country. I met some magnificent human beings of all colors in all corners of the country, but the system is corrupt. Big money, organized greed, weaponized hatred. And we were trying to create some space for truth, justice, and love, for some integrity, honesty, and decency. We were holding up a bloodstained banner of a black freedom movement that has to do with trying to embrace oppressed people here and around the world. I started in hoods in Mississippi and in Chicago and in South Carolina. I started in reservations. I started in barrios. I started in poor and working class communities, churches, mosques, temples, and churches. And what did I see? I saw an empire that's in deep decay and in deep decline. I saw a real genocide happening every day, and politicians couldn't hardly say a mumbling word in either major party. I saw mass incarceration. I saw poverty. I saw wealth inequality. I saw people living paycheck to paycheck. And where are we now? We are about to go under. About to go under. Chickens coming home to roost, reaping what we sow, and yet we still have to keep fighting and swinging and loving and laughing. Yes, indeed. And so here we are, 16 states with ballot access, 24 states write-in access, the largest write-in campaign in the history of the nation. And I simply say, thank you for the volunteers. Thank you for those who struggled and tried to hold up this bloodstained banner, and we will go on fighting after the election indeed. And for those in swing states, I can understand if you want to vote for a war criminal Harris. I can understand if you want to vote for a decrepit Democratic Party that will reinforce so much of the worst, because reproductive freedoms are real. I understand that. Civil liberties, to so many ways, are real, even though when it comes to your Horror 3, their civil liberties are called into question, even by the Democrats. I can understand. So if you opt for, in those swing states, Harris, I disagree with you, but I don't demonize you. I'm going with my conscience. I'm going with my witness. I'm going with my calling, which you think for yourself and fortify yourself, because after November 5th, the civic strife and the possibility of World War III with the genocide, both so barbaric in Gaza, escalating tensions with China and Russia mediated with the Ukrainian suffering, that's where we will be. Let us always keep our focus on poor and working people and the truth and the justice and the love that ought to flow out of us.
Yep. Brother Cornell cooking. And he said the same thing. I'm not against reproductive rights. Sisters, figure it out. That's your body. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not in that argument. He said, but he called her a war criminal. He also said, do you see what I'm saying? I'm going to mix all this shit together into one and say, choose this. There's certain elements and aspects that are very unclear. I can't just go gung-ho. He articulated it perfectly. You're being questioned on your blackness and your manness if you question the choice that was put before you. Huh? What if I tell you spiritually something is off with that choice? Am I now anti all black women because of that choice? What if I tell you spiritually something's off? Oh, you just misogynistic. Huh? No, not yet. Did he not clarify all of the points that we laid out? Well, if he didn't, maybe this will clarify it for you. Look at this picture. You ready? Look at this. White supremacy is telling our men and women to hate each other as well as themselves. At this rate, very soon, our women will be teaching their girls to hate black men, and our men will be wearing dresses. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing quoted this over 20 years ago. Do we not respect our sister, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing? Is she now somehow a conspiracy theory or a nutcase because she said this over 20 years ago? Is she not certified enough in Western education? Is she not degreed enough? Is she not educated enough? Is this not happening today? So if I'm pointing out the flaws on both sides of the fence, am I crazy? I'm going, wow, we got unbridled, unrefined, blue magic white masculinity in Donald Trump. That's blue magic white man. That's uncut white dope right there. I'm grabbing pussies, winning presidencies. I'm telling other countries to shut the fuck up before I bomb you. I'm wilding. That's white, masculine. That's uncut white masculinity right there. Blue magic white man. That's what that is. This is you gonna vote for the devil? Y'all gonna bring the devil back in the office? Okay, well, all right, that's the devil. But who is this? Because if it's not an archangel, if it's just a demon, if it's a lower level demon, and I'm not saying she a demon, listen, how come we can't have blue magic black? Shirley Chisholm was from here. I'm going to tell you right now, you know who would have won? Who would have won this presidency if she would have went up against Donald Trump? Michelle Obama. No fucking question. Michelle Obama, more charismatic, more aware of what the fuck is happening. Don't tell me she's brilliant, she's this, she's that. Don't tell me nothing. Well, I've seen enough footage of stammering and greens ingredients. I've seen enough. Greens recipes. I've seen enough to know, like, okay, a lot of this is fumbleosity. A lot of this is word salad. But Michelle is a different monster. She would have crushed. And if Kamala can get 226 electoral votes of the required 270, I guarantee you, a lot of swing states wouldn't have been swing states. They would have went for Michelle Obama. I guarantee you. So now that we're going to have now we're going to have 4 more years of Donald Trump. People are flabbergasted. Mind is blown. Oh, my God, how do we get here? What in the Sam hell just happened? But what are we going to do as black people? Are we going to support each other? Or are we just going to continue to be entertained by the fuck shit, entertained by goofy shit, entertained by disagreements, entertained by beef, entertained by strife? How do we work together? I know what I've been doing. I had a sister reach out to me. She's about to get married. She was a youngster when I first met her. Like she was in high school when I first met her. I was a counselor for the SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership, that MLK established. I was brought in as a mentor to help these kids in this after-school program. And the sister that was running the program was like, Zoe, I need you to come in here and really teach them about all of the shit African culture, religion, spirituality, because that's what I'm trying to put together. And while you're teaching on that, she was like, yo, you got to bring in somebody else who can help them with the math, right? Help them with, and I started getting my resource. At the time, it was my girl. I got her to come in. She was teaching them math. And this was every day after school. It was after school program. And I've said this before. I remember some of the mothers of the young brothers that I was, we had like dance contests and all types of shit, It was cool. But some of the mothers would come to me and say, listen, whatever the fuck you doing, please keep doing that shit. His daddy ain't around. We need a daddy on campus. and at the crib. I'm telling you, mothers were telling me, I ain't never seen him respond to a man the way he's responding to you. He listens to you. And we talking about young little gangbangers. Because where the school that I was at is called Fauché. You know Fauché? Right off Exposition, right down the street from USC. Fauché. You know what it is over there. We looking at maps of the 70 some odd gangs that surround the fucking neighborhood. The mamas is coming to me saying, whatever is happening here during the after school program, this nigga eating, this nigga learning, this nigga doing homework, he getting an understanding of what it means to be a young black man growing up in this environment. That ain't the only thing I've done like that. I was there for quite some time. I seen class. That young lady reached out to me and said, Mr. Williams. That's still call me Mr. Williams, still respectful. Mr. Williams, I'm about to get married. I said, what? Get out of here. She's like, listen, I need you to come to the wedding. I said, well, what do I need? What do I need to come there? She was like, you don't understand what you did with my life. She was like, meeting you and listening to what you had to say changed my life. Now, it might not change an old stubborn motherfucker who can only hear their own voice. It might not help you. My voice might not be for nobody who is unwilling to listen, who's unwilling to change the way they see and view the world. I'm an acquired taste. I'm not for everybody. But when they reach out and say, I'm about to get married, my mama wants you here. Okay, I'm going to show up. That's the kind of work I've been doing. Before Quincy Jones died, me and Modi were there in 2008 when Hillary was running against Barack. It's me, Modi, Quincy Jones, and Hillary Clinton. That's the only people in the room. The fucking Secret Service is outside. For what? This man's opinion and why you should understand hip hop and why you should understand the voice of hip hop and why people used hip hop to speak what was once unspoken. It was Quincy Jones who said, only two motherfuckers I know that could speak on it. And that's one, a creator of it, and two, Zoe Williams, the dude with him. He could have got KRS. He could have got some other people. No, he got Kool Moe Dee and Zoe Williams. And it be your own people that'll turn around and be like, what the fuck is Zoe here for? Clearly for something. Clearly for something. We got work to do as a people. We don't have time for petty beef. We don't have time for competitive beef against each other when everybody else has a team that they compete against us with. How are we supposed to be successful and within our own damn team, we competing against each other? It's crazy. It's like me watching my son's game. Every country this nigga go to, every country he go to, he got to compete against the team he playing against, and he has to compete against his own team. Because they be like, this our country. Yes, we brought you in to win games, but if there's an opportunity for me to score and get in the scores column, I'm going to take it. It's like You're fucking up the game. You don't understand the game. This is a one possession game. I'm in the corner open. We could win the game. No, I need 2 points. That's how we interface with each other. He'll have 36 points and be like, this motherfucker took the last shot. We could have won the game. What the fuck is going on? We got niggas on our own team like this. And let me tell you something. I don't do ad hominem attacks. I'm speaking about the cumulative experience. That's why I gave the example of Jay-Z. Did Jay-Z snitch on the super distribution conglomerate? Who killed Malcolm? Whether they were NOI or FBI, they were still black as I. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's always us and against them. And if I come in and just say, hey, fam, let's stop this. Let's stop this and let's work together. Literally, let's get over this and let's work together. And I'm saying that's alleged. We don't know. But there's key players that's talking about how it was Suge's idea. I saw the brother from Murder, Inc. say that. What's it? Irv Gotti? It was like, it's Suge. Suge Knight was like, yo, let's pull all these major labels together. Hey, thank you guys for hitting the super chat. Atomic Dog, salute from Maryland. Keep cooking, Zo. But you understand what I'm saying? You never gonna shame me for trying to pull my people together. You know what's beautiful? When you see your kids evolving into a better version of yourself. When my uncles see my oldest and they go, what's his major in? Philosophy. Well, didn't fall too far from the tree. God didn't make no mistake right there. That boy, philosophy. That's what you on. That's all you right there, boy. That's a cold piece of work right there, man. Yeah, philosophy with an undergrad and what is it? What's the studies in religious and also religious studies as well. They'd be like, yeah, that's him. They see my daughter. Hey, I want to tell your daughter, thank you for that portrait she painted of my mama. My daughter done found an old-ass portrait of their mama and painted it. You know, she took that from you. You know, you used to be an artist too. But she's really an artist. Painted. You know, and then you see it in all of your uncles and aunts' home. They got the picture because one uncle got it and was like, you see what Zoe's baby did? And gave it to all his brothers and sisters. Now they got it at the crib. You remember you used to draw? You don't draw no more. I don't know what the fuck happened to you. Your baby took over. Right? Then your youngest. I used to rhyme. I used to rap before I became a music executive. And I was serious. Now he rhyming and he's serious. And when they see him and they hear him talk, they go, this motherfucker look and sound just like you. He just chocolate. That's a beautiful thing to watch when you can recognize that your kids are taking the best of what you had to offer from yourself, and to this point, not taking the worst of you. That's a beautiful thing. Imagine if we could spread that kind of love out into the community. That's what I did when I was raising my kids. I knew my son and my daughter. I said, hey, man, they can't be a product of this hood. They live literally around the corner from where we are now, walking distance. You know what this hood is. I said, they can't be this hood. So what did I do? I went out into the hood and met my oldest kid, met his son, his homeboys, met them all. I saw the little Mexican homeboy they used to run with. He was in the cigar lounge 3 weeks ago. He looked at me and said, "You news dad?" I said, "Well, shit, yeah, who are you?" You know? He go, "I'm Eric. I used to play with your son. We was in the front yard all the time. He used to come out and talk to us." They be like, "Here come news dad. He finna teach us something." That's what I've been doing in the community. I said, I got to teach the hood. I got to teach the little gangbangers. I see the homie gangbanger. He's still a gangbanger right now. I see him. He be like, "What up, Capo? Capo. Hey, man, how new doing, man?" I had to talk to them just so they could understand. You can't come for mine. And they respect, oh, that's the little homie. We leave him alone. I remember one time, that same kid saved me. This is a few years back when I was still hooping. On Saturdays, I would get up and walk down the hill to the park. Saturdays, they used to hoop. Man, this particular Saturday, I got on the blue Superman t-shirt. Blue with the Superman emblem. And I have been playing hoop down there for a while. Saturday morning, they usually be hooping. So I'm down there hooping. I come down there one Saturday. Nigga, it's 4,000 bloods. It's a sea of red. I don't know if it was a hoodnick instead of a picnic. I don't know what the fuck it was. But, yo, it was a sea of red. It was thousands, literally thousands of bloods. It looked like a gang of red ants. And I don't recognize what's going on because I got the headphones on. I'm dribbling. I get down to the court. I look up. I said, what the fuck? And everybody there looking at me like, who this nigga? And I swear to God, if it wasn't for the youngster, he was like, "Oh, no, that's Soup." That's what they used to call me, Soup, Superman, because I used to wear that shirt. He was, "Oh, no, that's Soup. Soup is good. We hoop with Soup. Soup is good. No, it's all love." And they was like, "Oh, okay, cool. All right, cool." But I was like, what the fuck is this? He was like, "Nah, this is just an annual, meeting or some shit. I don't know." But I had to learn the hood, befriend the hood, the gang politics on this side of town, just to protect my kids. So if my daughter want to walk to the store, she can walk to the store. Ain't nobody going to fuck with her. And if somebody does fuck with her, she got niggas going to be on them. Like, nah, nigga, she part of this. We got to start doing that again. The good sister, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, her quote, it rings true. We are at odds with each other because we're fighting over the scraps that an imaginary choice provides. Scraps that an imaginary choice provides. Neither one of these candidates had a plan for reparations. California is the most liberal state in America, but it voted to keep servitude in prison. The same thing they dinged Kamala for. They said she had those prisoners out there working during the fires because the California Constitution allows it. How is it you have the most liberal state in America uphold slavery in prison. Because that's what it is. The most liberal motherfuckers, the kumbaya motherfuckers said, you niggas that go to jail are still slaves. That, I think it's Proposition 6, failed. Proposition 6 was for, hey, we got to rewrite that constitutional law. We can't have that. The man just told you in the clip, ain't nobody free. Ain't nobody free. Now watch this. You see this right here, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Play this next video. This is what she talked about over 20 years ago. Play this next video.
I might get some violations and I may offend some people with what I'm going to say, and I don't give a f. To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether you were here legally or not, you got to go. I hope he does that. To you black men who your fragile ego couldn't take a black woman in office, so you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all, the police will now have carte blanche to murder you right where you stand. And when they do that, there's not going to be no GoFundMes. Don't ask your family to ask us for shit. Just die. They can't afford to bury you. Dig a hole in their backyard. It is what it is.
Wow.
But don't expect sympathy. Don't expect protest in the streets. We're not doing that. Black women, we're done with. We're done. We did our due diligence for this century and the next. We've done enough. We're not doing anymore. To you white women that once again voted against your interests, when your husbands start knocking you into the middle of next week and you can't do anything about it because no fault divorce is in play, I want you to take those black eyes and those busted lips as a personal thank you from Donald J. Trump each and every time you get hit. Take it. Don't look for nobody else. Don't ask for help. Take your beatings. For all of y'all that voted for Trump, I hope you get exactly what you voted for. Because the only thing he did was make America great for the people that it was great for from the beginning, white men. That's what he did. He couldn't run the risk of whiteness no longer being the default, not being allowed to fail up. So when you're bleeding out somewhere and there's a medical emergency and you can't get no help, women who voted for him, don't take it. You just got to die. If you got kids, they're just going to be motherless. It is what it is. You didn't give a so we don't give a that's how it is. This isn't America anymore. I don't know what the it is, but it's not going to be America. And if you think that Trump is going to be in that office for 4 years, you're
That is not the right man to be telling me that I need to be protecting women by voting for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry. You may want to give that message. He can't give that to me.
I was livid, okay? All of those black men that spoke, I can't say all of them in the audience, but I'll say all the ones that spoke, from DL, like you said, Jermaine Dupri. There was some congressmen there, representatives. It not only was it sad and pathetic, it was so, I don't even know if disappointing captures it, right?
Shameful.
We
move on now to the BET Black Men's Summit. And basically, it was a love letter to Kamala Harris. They're talking about why they're supporting Kamala Harris, why the Democrat Party is the best party, and so on and so forth. It was really should have been called the Bitch Made Summit. Take a look here. This is Delano Squires on, he's from, yes, Blaze TV. He's on Fearless with Jason Whitlock, and he sums it up pretty much really well.
You mentioned DL Hughley, and I'm Jason. You know me. We've been rocking together for 3 years. I try not to get personal with people, but DL Hughley is a man who said that his daughter came to him and told him that someone he knows sexually assaulted her, and he says these are his words that he's admitted to in public, that he didn't believe her and he didn't stand up for her. That is not the right man to be telling me that I need to be protecting women by voting for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry. You may want to give that message. He can't give that to me. And this is the problem that I have with politics in general and politics.
Y'all want to know why she lost? I'm gonna tell you why she lost. The Democratic Party literally had the worst marketing strategy in history. Like, I saw this loss coming like a mile away. He's racist, he's racist, he's racist. Your candidate is a woman. This country's far more sexist than racist. Far more. So there's that group of people that are just automatically gonna vote the other way. Then you lost the plot completely with black people. I haven't seen pandering this tacky since Hillary Clinton pulled that hot sauce out of her bag. You had Joe Biden on his first campaign talking about if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. Who the fuck? Kamala done turned her freaking rallies into the BET Awards. You got Meg Thee Stallion twerking on stage, Glorilla on stage bleeping out every other word of her song because she can't even rap her actual lyrics. Then completely lost the plot with women. You got penises swinging around kids' locker rooms and women's locker rooms. People who identified as a man yesterday and identify as a woman today are whooping women's asses in sports. Women having to encounter penises and testosterone in situations that were once sacred to them. Add that to the fact that y'all originally showed up with the same candidate who we watched falling all over himself in the street, slurring his words and losing his train of thought mid-fucking press conference. And y'all still picked him, although y'all had Kamala as vice president at the time, which means even y'all knew she wasn't gonna win this. But y'all threw her in the game fourth quarter anyway. Then you got the everyday Democrat thinking they could bully people into voting their way, which is actually turning people off and running people out of the party. Mind you, election happened while everybody's hungry and broke. Rent was just due. Mortgages was just due. It's after the first, and we've been under this leadership for 4 years, so it feels like it's because of them. Then the Republicans keep stopping us. We can't get anything done because Republicans keep stopping us. So what's the point of voting for you if you can't get nothing done? Y'all gave Donald Trump a freaking Supreme Court seat when y'all let Ruth Bader Ginsburg die at damn near 100 years old in the freaking
We are not a better choice? How come we aren't the best choice? Why do we need an intercessor? If we, right, were invested in each other, will we need an intercessor? I don't believe so. Are we afraid of what might happen? Yes, yes. White Americans are highly jealous of black excellence. Don't ever misconstrue that point. They are highly jealous. That's what happened when they dropped the first bomb in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You niggas is doing well without us? That was the epitome of black excellence while minding one's own business. We was minding our own business, succeeding collectively, together. How come we aren't the best option? Man, I would have loved to see Jesse Jackson be president in '84. I was 13. I would have loved to see that. That man from here, his roots go back to Native American. As my big mama would say, we got the white man, the Native American, and the African. That's what we made up of, son. The white man, the Native American, and the African. I say, Emma Sue, why you say the white man first? Because he's the least strong. I say the African last because he the strongest. I said, well, give me game. The white man, the Native American, and then the African. I said, well, thank you, Emma. Do you understand? So I'm just saying, like, we always run to a broken system. I done played multiple videos that explain the system is broken, the system is toxic, the selection, the choices are toxic. Why couldn't we have somebody, answer me this, is there a conspiracy to keep niggas that are homegrown from here, Cincinnati, Ohio, Seattle, New Mexico, I don't give a damn, Compton, right? Oakland. Is there a conspiracy to keep homegrown candidates from ascending to the Oval Office? Do we always got to get our cousins? I claim them as our cousin. The Jamaicans is our cousin. Okay, Kamala got a Jamaican daddy. She our cousin. Okay, Barack got a Kenyan daddy. He our cousin. Like the Nigerian, we family. Great. But can we get somebody from Compton, from Watts, from Chattanooga? Can we get somebody here? Why is it every time somebody run, it's newfangled? It's cousin-esque. And then it's lumped under one term. Oh, we're all black. Wait a minute, hold on. Is the same conspiracy that created the Electoral College that said we cannot extend the vote to the African we just freed because they're going to vote for their interest, and we don't want them to do better in this society after having them as a footstool. So we have to prevent their vote from having any power. This is why the Electoral College exists. So if they take the power from the vote, how come you don't vote for yourself? How come you don't, brother, how come you don't vote for your woman? Sister, how come you don't vote for your man? Why are we the largest voting bloc? Bloating is perfect. Why are we the largest voting bloc, right, for the Democratic Party, who was born in racism, who still does passive-aggressive racism? I call it passive-aggressive altruism. I come across like I'm altruistic, but really I'm not. I want to keep you where you are. And how I keep you where you are is keep you in need of the breadcrumbs that I give you. You know, I'm so glad we created this outreach program. You know, we feed the kids. Well, I'm not going to change the condition that would allow the kids to need me anyway. The fuck? But I'll always be here with these cheese sandwiches and these apple slices and juice boxes because it's only right. It's the human thing to do. Wouldn't the human thing to do would be to balance the system? Oh, no, that's too large of an undertaking. And besides, what happened to your people was 150 years ago. The people who did that, no one is here. No one is still alive from that time. We're not responsible, but these cheese slices are of the highest quality. This is provolone. The fuck? And then black people turn around and go, they better than what you doing. At least they giving sandwiches, nigga. What you doing? All right, listen, if you enjoyed today's ZoWhat Morning Show, I went a little longer than I normally do. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Please go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter. I don't claim to be right about everything. It's not my job to, I don't care if you agree with me or not. I'm not interested in that. I just like to have these types of discussions. We should continue to have these discussions. Again, now what? Are we going to choose us? Are we going to try to create outreach programs for us where we build things together? I think it's important that we start working on our relationships with our men and our women, sisters, brothers. We got to come together after all of this. It should be no more dissension. It should be no more bullshit that we have become addicted to. We got to get that competitive nature out of our team and focused on to the other team that clearly has a team. White men and women are on the same team, and they showed us that. I appreciate everybody. Everybody hit the like button on your way out. Hit the like button. Don't forget, tonight on KBLA Talk 1580, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, is back on the air. Tavis Smiley's KBLA, trust me, 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be ridiculous tonight. I have an amazing topic lined up for us. Again, man, I hope I brought some clarity. Maybe it wasn't no clarity, but let's continue to have this discussion. Let's continue to try to find a way to work together. I'm Zoe Williams. I'll see y'all tonight on KBLA Talk 1580. Deuces.